No, very well rehearsed. Bowdo's got the flick again. Dukes stepping up. Bowdo's done.
Yeah, I'm not sure Bowdo. Is he going to another network or something? Yeah, happy to be here and hopefully have a few laughs.
Very good. We've got a massive show tonight, just like we had 4 weeks ago. So we've got the grade reviews once again. We're now about 6 or 7 rounds in, so we'll get a good update on where things are at in all grades. Rosie will be back with SPL Confidential, juicier than The Bachelor. The great debate's back again. Rosie likes it. The great debate's back again. Sorry. Yasmin has a question. It's interactive, Yasmin.
Come on, yeah.
We've got the great debate again, and today's topic is that women should be paid the same as men in professional sports, so that will be a very controversial one. Prayers, Mailbag will be back, and Good Call, Bad Call, and we have celebrity heads to wrap everything up. So, without further ado, we'll get things underway with the Cup grade review. So everybody, a round of applause to Hari.
Yeah!
You can sit wherever you like, stand if you like, whatever makes you comfortable. All prepared and everything. Welcome, Hari. Tell us what's happening in Cup grade.
Hello?
Hello.
That's fine. Cup grade, so we're going to look at each team's play. Play. Is that fine?
No.
That's fine.
He doesn't. Sosa. He's not a singer.
That's fine.
He doesn't make noises.
He doesn't. No. Start again. Edit that bit out. Go normal, Pete. I'll turn it down.
And take 2.
Welcome to the desk.
It's not that hard, guys. It's not that hard. Just keep it in.
Take 3.
I'll start now. After each team having played 5 games, the Cup grade ladder seems to have taken a familiar picture right here with Storm leading the ladder with 30 points, Clay 4 points ahead, followed by Rats and Clayton surprisingly in 3rd place after an indifferent start of the season, with Wardens, Glay Knights and Mighty Ducks rounding for playoff cushion at the moment. 8 shooters and Scrubs are the 2 remaining teams. Scrubs are looking to complete this string with 4 losses and 1 forfeit and are at 8 points. At the moment, Storm 30 points from 5 games with 2 bonus point wins and 2 convincing wins against Glay Knights and Mighty Ducks, and lost against the Clayton Boys by 1 run. Well done, Clayton, for that.
Good win.
Rats have
Good
keep going. Rats have quietly gone about their business on 26 points with 5 games, having won 4 and lost 1 against Glay Knights. Surprising loss for them. We have a big game on Thursday between Rats and Storm. Battle for the first position. We have a cracker of a game there, so hopefully we'll see how it goes. Can Rats burst the Storm bubble and overtake Storm into first place, or will Storm maintain the position at the top? Clayton seemed to have hit their stride after an indifferent start of the season. They won their last 2 games, one with a bonus point and another by 7 wickets. I think that's the first time it's happened in Cup grade in over a fair number of seasons actually. Well done to Clayton for that. Should give them a round of applause.
Man of the match.
Teresa?
Dukes was man.
Dinaka being man of the match as well. Well done, Dinaka.
Captain Courageous.
It'll be interesting between Storm, Clayton and Rats to see who finishes top. We have 5 more games to find that out. Wardens 11, they're struggling to put a consistent team week in and week out. They seem to have issues with their mixture of players, and Nitin and probably Sandeep not available for each and every game of theirs, and because of that they seem to be struggling, but they seem to be doing fairly well for the team that they have, and Ashish leading the batting lineup. They are in 4th place with 22 points. Glenny Knights, they are a team which really can't review them in a way that they have been totally inconsistent. They have beaten the Rats and they went on to lose to Clayton Boys by 7 wickets. And they gave Storm a run for their money as well. So they seem to be relying too heavily on Arun and Hari, and if they do not perform, then they seem to be running out of steam. So Glen Knights, but I expect them to make the final. I think they have enough in their tank to actually make the final. Mighty Ducks, they seem to be finding life stuff in the second outing. They did fairly well last season, finishing 4th and giving all the top teams a run for their money, but this time they seem to be struggling against all the top teams. They having lost to Storm and Rats. They have won just 2 games this season and won by a forfeit. So I expect them to probably miss out on the finals. 8 shooters. There seems to be a bit of an issue with 8 shooters right now. Atrush's captaincy and attitude seems to be having a lot to be decided. A fight with Anuj apparently then Anuj has left the team to go and join Tridents in A grade. Ganesh probably trying to take up the leadership in the next game. Can they survive this, or will they probably just disband like the Blackhawks did? Scrubs, well, there really isn't much to say about them. They're struggling to put a team out, having lost 4 games and a forfeit. Probably the wooden spoon for them. Regarding the individual players, we probably have a couple of surprises here. Weber,
Don't know why that's surprised.
yeah, probably after a few seasons realizing his potential finally, leading the run scoring chart, taking it from his captain, who's been leading the run scoring for the past few seasons. He's been doing fairly well. Adam from Clayton Boys, 3 man of the matches, few good performance, seems to have injured his foot. Probably not gonna continue playing. And Renovan continued the show for the Rats, so probably all 3 reckoning for the MVP. Expect the top 3 to remain the same, with Storm, Rats and Clayton Boys fighting out for the top 3. Probably Storm should finish first, followed by Clayton and Rats. Maybe there's a surprise there. Let's see how that goes. 5 more games to go.
Real question for Harry. Harry, I saw the Mighty Ducks St. Collins game, and I have to say that was one of the more fiery games I've seen in SPL. Do you think that's become the new sort of Collingwood and Essendon rivalry at SPL Cup grade? Because there was a lot of heat in that game. Yeah.
There's a lot of ferries in it. That's true.
Probably have to let Bowdo actually answer this.
Not answering anything.
He seems to be the one who seems to have been fired up for the game and kind of just permeating the entire team. And then we have to kind of take it up on him and
as long as it's on the field.
But it was a good game, and in the end, there was a lot of banter from on the field and off the field. But I guess things got a bit personal in the end. So probably that's why it became a bit of a heated match by the end of it.
Really? Why does that not?
Probably maybe the new Essendon Collingwood rivalry with an SPL. I'm not sure who the old Essendon Collingwood rivalry was.
Are you saying Storm should line up? Hands like that.
Any other questions from the panel or from the audience?
How far will Wardens go?
Yeah, how
Wardens.
far will Wardens go?
Expect them to finish 4th or 5th, but lose in the first round of finals. They're pretty much being relying heavily on Ashish for their batting, so it's going to be hard for Wardens to kind of put up a challenge. Teams are starting to find out what they're made of. Probably going to be hard for them, but this is a season of transition for them. They are trying to find players, and probably give them a season. Next season they should be strong.
Without any bias, who's your tip for the trophy this year?
Rats would still be the team to beat. They have come back again strong, and they seem to always start off slowly at the start in during the end of the seasons, and then but by the end of the season they actually start getting their momentum up and getting to the grand final and winning it. Whether they'll be able to do it one more season, well, they will have a few challenges in Storm and Clayton, but Rats would be the team to beat.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Do you believe it's the Rats brand name that they've developed over the last few seasons why they're feared this season, or is it the Rats, if you base them just on this season's performances, do you still believe them to be the top, or deservedly top?
With regards to Rats, they really haven't fielded their strong team yet. Even the last couple of games, they seem to have had a couple of fill-ins as well, and they still seem to have won the games. it'll be interesting to see how they go about coming up the season. At this moment, their performances do not justify what they've done over the last few seasons, but that's probably been how it always is. And Rats always try to put out a team in the end and then manage to win the trophy.
Thanks,
But as I said, there are challenges here. Storm look pretty strong for this.
Good answer.
Got a two-part question.
Two parts.
First part, you've made numerous strong comments about the Scrubs not doing so well in the cup grade. Do you think they'll be demoted next season? Second part, if so, who are the teams in the lower grades do you think should be in cup grade?
Regarding your part of the question,
Part one.
Scrubs probably haven't been made a mistake there letting Scrubs stay in cup grade, considering their performance was as poor last season, and this season they really haven't done anything to actually show that they deserve to be in cup grade. They probably should be demoted down to A grade. To who has to come up? Well, the winner of A grade automatically comes up, but I guess it's also about time we gave Monash Breakers a run in cup grade. So they should also be the other team who actually comes up. Part 2 of the question was... Oh,
You've answered it, yes.
Was it clear?
Thank you.
Thanks for killing the entire run, taking about 30 minutes for your segment. Very good. Very good. I'm not sure when previous show got so serious. It was just like
Very in-depth.
Bevis' question. It was just, I love it. Skill. Very
You told
good.
me to ask it, Brenda.
He told you to ask
You
it.
told me to ask
I told you to ask
Yeah,
it. Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, very
That was a
clever.
good question.
All right, Ali, you're going to give us the rundown in girls' grade.
Yes, I will, and it won't be as in-depth as ours, but it'll be very interesting nonetheless. So, looking at the ladder, hit and run and fine legs are equal points, 26, top of the ladder, which, yeah, it promises to be a fantastic end to this season coming up into finals, because no balls is on 24 points, and hit and run are playing no balls tomorrow at 6:30, so if you want a good match, come down and watch, because I'm pretty sure that will be a fantastic competition. Both teams are on top of their game, and every single player in each of those teams are just bringing it to every match. Bye, Harry. So yeah, that promises to be a fantastic game. So we'll see what happens there. And the Super Foxes won their first game the other day in 12 months apparently. So that's a pretty good record break on that one.
24 months.
Don't like that bad, but no, it looks like, and I think it has something to do with one of their newest team members, Nippany. And I have it from her that she's been training with the boys, so I think the rest of the girls go to look out. Because I think she's a force to be reckoned with. We might even see her in the voting for MVP. Although, with the Super Foxes, I think Rose's injury might hamper their chances. So even though they've got a new player, I think Rose's injury might bring the team down a little bit. So we'll see what happens there, see if they can pull through. Monash Maidens have been doing some great stuff, in particular, Miriam's bowling. Now, if you've watched this bowling, it's quite interesting because it has a lot of similarities with Deed's mystery balls. Popping up and landing right on the crease really slowly. So, pretty sure that's going to race through some of the batting orders in the girls if they're not careful. So, watch out for that. And I'm pretty sure, well, maybe this should be for SPL Confidential, but considering that it's very close to Pete's bowling, I think there's been some extra training going on. So, might have to ask Pete about that one.
Uncle Pete.
And the rumour is actually that Hit and Run might be pulling a Mighty Ducks, the movie of course, and getting new uniforms for the finals. For the finals.
Are you going to do the flying V?
We might do the flying V and it will be spectacular. Or maybe Chris will do the flying V.
So would that mean you're more aligned with the male Mighty Ducks team?
No, we're going to win, so.
Oh,
It's all good.
Good call.
Yeah. Any questions?
Is it true that due to popular demand that the girls' grade games are going to be reduced to 15 overs each? Due to just the general slowness of the override?
Why are they slow, Dukes? What do you reckon is slow?
It's just a lot of meandering.
Meandering? Define
between balls.
meandering.
Just sort of someone bowls it, they block it, then it's sort of just around, drop the ball.
Are you implying that they're not very good?
I'm implying that they just need a bit more urgency about the game. I think there was a dodgy punters game that was due to start at 9:30 from what I've been told it started at 10:15. So, is that going to happen? Or is that just a rumour?
Well, feel free to come down and give us a bit of extra coaching on how to get it picked up.
Dukes.
We'll take anything extra.
That's appreciated. What I can see is that I can see all the girls playing together after every over discussing tactics. So I think the girls' games are getting much better. Tactics. It's growing. Girls' great. Lots of thinking involved. I mean, as a captain, I've had to really change the way that I play the game. I have to really think about who I'm going to bowl, when I'm going to bowl them, who's going to be my batting order. A lot of thought goes into this. And it has to happen during the game too, so that's my answer to that.
So you think it's okay for the girls' games to go a little bit longer than the boys' game?
Yep, it's quality cricket.
That's true.
I'm laughing because you're wrong, Duke. That's why I'm laughing.
I've got a question.
Bevis has another question.
Do you believe that the girls' teams that have a boy, male coaching or coaching staff are doing better, no effect or worse than the girls' team that may or may not have a male coaching staff?
I don't actually think it has an effect. Because you look at hit and run, we have had a male coach for a few seasons now, and we're as strong as ever, so I don't think it has an effect. Good question.
But wrong.
Sorry?
It might actually have an adverse effect because it might be a distraction for the girls, so who knows?
Who do you think are favourites to win the cup?
Ooh. I'd actually have to say no balls. Coming off last season win, they're very strong as a team, and every game they've just looked really solid. So I think they're favourites for the cup.
Who's the smoky? The underdog.
It's easy, super positive. I mean, come on.
I actually think the cuties.
Serious?
I think so. So the issue with the cuties is that they haven't actually had a consistent team, and if they had a few games where they had the same players coming, they would be a force to be reckoned with because they've got some fantastic talent in their team. So
Well, they haven't won a game.
cuties.
Have they won a game?
That's my smoky.
They haven't won a game.
You asked for the smoking.
You asked for the smoking,
Bevis,
that's
one
my
question per grade.
Sorry.
No, go on quickly.
With the lack of sass in fine legs of the last 2 or 3 games, and fine legs have still been winning the game, do you believe girls' grade is getting to a stage as well where the single person does not make a difference, or do you believe that a main player in a team being missing will make a difference to the entire team?
I think it depends whether that team's been together for a long time. If it's a new team and they've got one person that's holding them up, I think that would make a big difference. But in terms of the fine legs, been together for a while now. They've sort of got it together in terms of who's who. They know how each other plays. So I think with that in mind, I think you're right. I think it's turning to be a massive team building instead of just one player.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ali. Round of applause for Ali. Keep your round of applause going because it's time for SPL Confidential. Welcome Rosie to the table. Not allowed to talk about things like as outraged as we are about Blake and
Outrage. How dare he cheat on her and get another girl pregnant? Oh my god. Alright. Happy occupational therapy week as well, everybody. Okay. Now. So, hot off the press, what do we have here?
people are confused. Continue.
They're confused? Are they confused? Okay, they might not be confused after this. There are rumours abound that there was more to Sam's birthday drinks last week than meets the eye. One or two invitees had more than enough drinks One man was sitting on another man's knee. Sam, you're in the audience. Can you explain?
I don't remember that.
Prove Mr. Spies out there. All right.
Who was sitting on his lap?
Well, I don't know. This is the goss. I cannot reveal my sources. I cannot.
I think I was sitting on Bash's lap for a bit.
Bash?
I think I was sitting on Bash's lap.
It's a Bash.
I remember that.
I
think
he was there. Sorry?
Just a lap ball.
Dukes was there. Okay.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. Do you know who it
Well,
was?
there was a shortage of seats at the place. So I know Bev sat on my lap. I think Stu stood on Ashan's lap as well.
I think so.
And
It
yeah,
was
there was a fair bit of.
for convenient purposes, not for anything else.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it as well. Okay.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable experience with Bevs.
Beautiful. All right then. Thank you very much for that bit of info. Is there any reason no SPL girls would consent to Perfect Match about a month ago? The talk is that the Bowdo is a spawning ground for relationships, and the SPL girls are just a little shy. Care to elaborate? Is that true? Is there something in the copy?
It's only the girls that can elaborate.
Oh, the girls.
Exactly,
The
they're
girls.
the ones that didn't want to do it.
Maybe they're all taken.
Maybe they're all taken.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Are they?
I'm not ask them.
I'm not taken. Alright, next, Ashan is here as well. Maybe he needs to explain something here. But from the Clayton boys was seen dressed in all white last Saturday.
Oh, what?
All white.
All
Were
white.
getting
You
married
play cricket,
at
you
the
goose.
You were seen driving somewhere and looking very dashing apparently.
Dashing? Dashing? Nah, different bloke. It's not Ash. It's not Ash.
It's not Ash?
Nah, different bloke. Could have been dashing. Could have been Teresa.
It was not dashing.
I was playing cricket.
Alright, maybe then, what do we know? He's actually gone now, but what do we know about Harry's new tattoo? Did Mayu talk to him? Did Mayu talk him out of something more provocative? And by the way, what did Mayu get for a tattoo? Does anybody know?
Harry's name on it.
Harry's name? Really? I didn't confirm that next time. Maybe we'll get them to reveal their tattoos. Alright.
One of them got sweet, the other one got dude.
Sweet and then got dude. Oh, nice. On their backs. Beautiful.
I like it.
Alright.
What does mine say?
Arnie had a concussion 2 weeks ago and he went to Sashan's dad for some stitches. He was in surgery for hours, but was there more to it, everybody? Was there more to it? Apparently Botox was administered. He's not even concentrating. How very old are you? I'm talking about you and you're not even concentrating.
Sorry.
Did you have Botox 2 weeks ago? That's what we would like to know.
Affirmative.
A fair bit of okay.
It looks a bit plastic there.
Yes, his dad, Dr. Ageless.
What?
Are we meant to get that?
Put on a plug for his dad. I don't know his name. Mr. Gallagher.
Okay.
Doctor.
Now, the abandoned prams outside the front of SPL a few weeks ago have apparently been spotted, so crisis over, and they have been spotted in the backyard in West Brunswick. Dun, dun, dun. Do we know? Does someone
What was that
click
again?
Yeah, it's in West Brunswick.
What's that again? Can you repeat that, please, Rosie?
The prams. Apparently there were some prams around here that were abandoned, and someone has found it in the backyard of somebody's home in West Brunswick. Teeks.
That's our vehicle.
Oh, okay, radio. I thought maybe you had some news.
Who lives in West Brunswick?
I don't know. Hand up. Who lives in West Brunswick here?
Close to us.
Cheers.
Ali.
Ali.
I don't know who that is.
Really?
Yeah.
Something else tell me?
It's actually Brunswick West.
Brunswick West, not West Brunswick.
It's actually
Sorry.
Brunswick West.
That's
So
Brunswick. Okay.
I got confused.
Alright.
Question. Yeah.
So essentially you're living with Teeks and Artie. That's the conclusion we're drawing?
No, their cars there.
Glenn
Their
Waste.
cars parked it there. And they
Alright.
stole it from here and then they drove there. I don't know.
But
Can
they-
you get it, please? It's really sick
I
of sitting in
understand.
our
It's causing
backyard.
trouble. Alright.
Good.
There's also been an influx of ladies at SPL recently. Are they, one, chasing one tall Clayton dude who possibly is on the panel right now?
What?
I don't know. Are they trying to cut Chris's lunch? Are they attracted by the strong SPL fragrance that lingers? Maybe they're Mighty Duck groupies, or are they just seduced by the sights and sounds of SPL?
Why don't we ask a few of the influx of ladies?
Yes, ladies, why are we talking about?
Who likes?
Influx of ladies have started to come to
Ladies
SPL.
pension,
Yeah, and what's the reason behind that?
Apparently, toilet.
Nah, that's not an option. Did you ever hear that?
Option
A,
A
B,
was
C, D,
chasing
E.
one tall Clayton dude. Option B was trying to cut Chris' lunch. Option C, attracted by the strong SPL fragrance that lingers. I'm not
That's
sure
because
what
of
the fragrance is.
Dude, hey.
Alright, it's because of you.
It's A.
Do you care to elaborate?
Cutie alert.
Elaborate.
Yeah,
You're really engaged to SPL.
Am I?
Did you realise that?
Yeah, not aware of that.
He's a magnet. They want a bit of a dick.
Yeah, no, if you are coming quicker than me, make yourself aware. And then,
Alright, very nice. Now, the cuties celebrated their recent win long and hard. A certain precautionary receptacle was recently found discarded beneath a cushion on the unofficial cuties stand. One would have liked to speculate on whom it might belong to, but anyone with a key to SPL would be the first suspects.
Pete has a key.
Pete has a key. Yes, there's a list here. Pete's
Okay.
name's here.
Bowdo.
Oh yeah.
Shamus.
A. Bowdo, T. Hunter, B. Lee, Samiru M. Pete, myself. Technically, I don't have a key, but maybe Sharon.
Pav? Mike's not working.
Pav.
Does Pav have a key?
I don't know. Does Pav have a key?
Harry's always here.
It was Brendan.
And apparently, this team shirt was found recently on the cutie stand, and at this stage, there is no suggestions of a connection. What is going on? What is going on? And hot off the press, as in like half an hour ago. Not even
scripted.
It's not even scripted. It's that juicy. But apparently this weekend we have an SPL debuting their singing and solo singing and songwriting skills. Who could that be?
I know what it is.
I know.
Nah, don't spoil it.
I don't think
I know it.
It's on me.
It's not you.
Nah, spoil it. Spoil it.
Spoil it? No, one of the, if you're not doing anything on Tuesday night,
28th of October.
next Tuesday night, and you can't make tune-ups, come down to Berwick, a location in Berwick. Andrew Anthony, our very own Andrew Anthony, is going to be performing a set. His own songs as well, so no covers, he's written them himself.
Performing with
So
Santana.
Original.
get down there if you're, if you know Andrew, he's a very talented musician, so get down there and follow him. If you can get through the hordes of girls, you'll be able to see Andrew
Just
play.
like swing by them. Yeah,
Exactly.
Performing with Santana.
Be aggressive.
He's all big with Santana.
Is he going to give us a bit of a sample of what we might
No,
taste?
no,
Choose
not
a
that.
war.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No.
We'll see. We'll have to warm him up. We'll
Voice.
see. Stay tuned if you're watching
He's
at
got to use
home
those shoes.
or not. Alright, thanks very much, Rosie. Alright, next up, always controversial, we've got the great debate. So welcome Sarisa and Miriam to the table. Give us a clap.
I'll pull my massive notes out.
Welcome Miriam, welcome Sarisa. Today we are discussing whether or not women should be paid the same as men in professional sports. So Miriam is arguing that they shouldn't be paid the same, and I believe suggesting that men should be paid more than women, or vice versa. Okay. And Sarisa will be arguing that women and men should be paid the same amongst professional sports, in professional sports. I should say that these they were told to argue these, so these don't necessarily reflect it. Bye, Ali. It's these.
Thank you.
So yeah, they were forced to argue these sides, so they don't necessarily represent what they actually think. They're told to argue these. Who wants to start off between?
Ladies first.
You're
I
right.
found out about it.
Ladies are not first in sports, so I think it should be
What?
men first.
I found out about 4 o'clock.
Alright, I found out 24 hours ago, so I'll go first.
Alright, that's all right.
Okay.
Go on.
Alright, so how long are we supposed to each talk?
You can go. Ideally, not too long.
Will I get more than one, or?
No, you will have more than one. So start off with about 30. No, you give you a minute opening statement.
Okay, minute opening
Go on the
statement.
fly.
Okay, first reason that women should not be paid as much as men in professional sports is because the market drives the payment for men. So you can't pay like extra or the same to women if women's sport doesn't generate as much income as men's sport, which it doesn't. You have to go by basic market economics, and the fact is that men's sport does generate much more income, and so if we were to pay women as much, it would kind of be like, here's an example. You've got a violet crunchy and a violet crumble and a crunchy. They're a similar product, but say violet crumble doesn't generate as much income as crunchy. If you go and then pay all of the crunchy revenues to the violet crumble employees, how is that fair? Because violet crumble doesn't generate as much. It would mess up the market. It doesn't follow the basic market economics, and it would really mess with the way that it all works.
I'd just like to, take a step back from this, and just kind of work on how payment is, done in professional sports. I came down with 3 factors for women, and one was hard work, and I think everyone works hard and equally as well, men and women. Second is sacrifices that women have to make in terms of their, families and future sort of, plans, I guess. And finally, I was actually going to say marketability as well. So I think the fantastic point raised there, it was a great analogy used. But in terms of, if you're talking about marketability, Elise Perrin, who's actually a cricketer as well as a football player, she's represented Australia at World Cups in both sports. If you're talking about marketability, I think that some could argue that she's probably the most marketable sports person in Australia. She could be the face of Australian sports, and she's 24 years old. So I think that men and women should be given equal pay based on the amount of hard work that they put in. Men's sports and women's sports are watched for different reasons, but the amount of hard work that they put in, accounts for the same pay. And it's like, I guess if you're working in an accounting firm, men and women work the same, they work just as hard, and they get the same rates, at a base level. So I think that it's important that we take that into account and work towards it. And marketability is something that we can improve on. It's not like women's sports can't be advertised. Like, for example, tennis, women get paid the same as men in Grand Slams in the major tournaments. So I don't understand why you can't. That's true. Grand Slams are getting paid the same. Thanks for that. I don't understand why it can't be even throughout sports.
Okay, fair points. I'll, reply to some of the things that you've brought up. Was it Alice Perry?
Elise Perry.
Elise Perry. She's definitely a fantastic athlete and definitely very marketable, but unfortunately she's an outlier amongst women. There are many, many men that also play in dual sports. She would not be the norm amongst female sports people. There are probably more men out there who are marketable in the same way. And one of the reasons why we highlight her achievements so much is because she is one of the only women that does do both sports at a high level. In terms of marketability, men's sports are actually, consumed and watched much more than women's sports. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be, but currently the fact is that there's much higher participation rates by men in sports. Some Australian Bureau of Statistics suggested that the participation rates of sports for men is much higher than women all throughout life, and that they play sports for longer as well, that men buy more sports products, that they watch more sport
sport, they consume more, sports memorabilia and all sorts of products to do with sport than women do, and that simply drives the men's sport industry to where it is. And look, in an ideal world, like you say, women should be paid, or could be paid as much. But unfortunately, this is not an ideal world, and we have to go by where the market is taking us. I think that there's plenty of opportunities for us to perhaps promote women's sport, but at the moment in women's sport, it would be very difficult to pay women the same amounts. Yeah. Over to you.
Yeah, fair enough. No, it's fair comments, all of them. But do you think, I've got some stats here actually. The minimum amount men earn in cricket, this is a Cricket Australia contract, is $210,000, right? And the minimum that a woman earns is $52,000. So that's a fair difference there. So do you think that girls, when they're younger and looking to go into sport, look at those statistics and they're making a career choice. This is their life that we're talking about here. Do you think that they look at the $52,000 and they go, I can have my own business and make more than that. Why should I get into sports? Whereas men look at that number for cricket. They not only have the Cricket Australia contract, they also can get into IPL where they can earn millions in about 20, 30 days. And in some cases, they don't even play IPL, but they still get the money. So do you think that men have more reasons to play sport and choose it as a viable career option than women? Because at the moment, women, looking at these numbers, and that's just for cricket, and you can talk about that in basketball. Women's basketball in America, the WNBA pays far less than the National Basketball Association, which is for the men. Do you think that women, they look at these stats and they say, look, I can earn more money in another career? And also considering $52,000, that's not going to help me save for a house, that's not going to help me build a future with in terms of having kids and things like that. So, I think that the reason why we don't see women choosing, buying more products or choosing sport is because of these numbers. And like you said, it's not an ideal world, but we can do things to help improve. Like, for example, SPL over here at the grassroots helps, promote women's sports, women's cricket. And like that, if we get behind, advocate for women's sports and the rights that women have as professional sportsmen, I think that this can be achieved, and the marketability is, it's possible. I actually have another example.
Can I?
Yeah, sure, jump in there.
I think you raised a good point in that it is important for young women especially to have something to look forward to in their careers and to have great opportunities. But the fact is that in other industries, women dominate. So in sport, men might dominate the industry, but in industries such as modelling and the beauty and fashion industry, women certainly dominate and earn a lot more than men. And if we were to say, we should pay men as much as women in the modelling industry, there would be the same argument that it's about equality, but the fact is that there are plenty of career options for women other than sport. Obviously, women have opportunities in other areas that men don't. So I think that actually levels the playing field a bit in terms of career opportunities and things for young women to look forward to. Yeah.
Before you continue, sorry to interrupt, Jukes, you've got a very, Jukes and Ali, both of you have a very pensive face on. I know you've had a bit of experience in the modelling industry yourself, so would you care to comment?
Struck my head.
That's it.
It's an interesting conversation, Alan. I'm sort of indifferent to the whole pay scenario. It doesn't really bother me too much how it works, but I think how it works is true.
It might be because he's a man and men get paid more generally, but...
Yeah, if I was good enough to play professional sport, I wish I would have been. Definitely that's a good point, but I'm not. So I'm an accountant. And that is no, but like you said, it's all about marketability and market share and all that, so it all adds up, it's all economics and it works So unfortunately, it should be equal, but it seems like it isn't male dominated in sports.
Sally?
I particularly noticed it because I actually know a few Australian cricket players, and they used to coach us at a girls' cricket camp I used to go to when I was young. And you talk to these women, and they had other jobs. They were professional sportswomen, but they were also working in hospitals as nurses, as doctors, which was quite amazing to be able to do both. And quite inspiring actually in terms of what people should aspire to be, doing something you love, but also helping others in another job. And how do you juggle that when you also have a family? It was incredible. So if you want to go along those marketing lines, I think that's something that we should actually be showing kids in schools and women in schools. Look, you can do all of this stuff. It's possible if you put your mind to it. And yeah, I think there's a lot of hope though too. I think there is a subtle change happening. You're seeing with the 2020 series, women commentators are starting to commentate cricket, and they're just as good. In fact, possibly better.
Whoa.
Than some of the men, I have to say.
Turn it up.
I have to say, listening to someone like Monty talk about the cricket, it's really quite, it's a struggle for him to actually just talk about the but it's quite, I know, it's a little bit controversial, but if you watch his first ones as having a go at it, it's not natural. It's very, very disjointed, I think. Whereas you're listening to these women that are talking about the sport that they love, it's natural. They love it. They can just have a chat to the people that are playing. It's fantastic. And we're also seeing more women's sport on TV as well. We've seen lots of games that have been broadcasted, especially the World Cup last year. I was on ABC, and they were fantastic games. The final for that was a ripper.
I think what you're talking about is quite a natural progression in the industry, that the women's stuff is becoming more prominent, it's like it's like yourself being on the panel, and you talk about cricket very naturally and just as well, if not better than the guys, and that makes the point. What you mentioned about women having to work a separate job as well as play a professional sport. That's the way that it was with men's football when it first started. Men had to work their day jobs and then do training and football on the side. That was the beginning of that industry, and as the industry garnered more support and football became more popular, that's when the industry could afford to pay the players, and people were turning up to games and buying tickets, and the ticket sales really drove the sport higher and higher. And I think it's really important that women's sport follows that natural progression as well. If we were to set the pay grades at the same right now, I think that would actually be have a negative impact on the industry. So I think for now they shouldn't be paid the same rate until it does garner as much support as, say, men's football did at the point at which men started getting paid to play football.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, but I think to promote sport for women, to get to that sort of stage, I don't think we're arguing to happen tomorrow or even today. We're talking in 40 years from now, or even maybe 20 years from now, that we're going to see like tennis, other sports follow and pay women the same for what they do.
That's all right. I'm going to let the crowd just chip in. Anyone with any comments or thoughts or anything? Yasmin looks passionate. I can see you, Yasmin. Just wait.
When you're comparing the pay for the women and the men, do they play the same amount of games, or is the difference in pay purely because men obviously like the Cricket Australia plays so many games? So.
They don't play the same amount of games, no. But it comes down to marketability as well. They can't sell crowds. They can't get a ground where they can sell out crowds like the men's cricket team do. So that's why the pay rate is so low. And what I'm trying to say is, if we get behind women's sports from the grassroots and get behind professional sports women, then we can garner that same type of market rate that men do. And I think that's what we can focus on from now on, to get behind women's sport advocate for it and help improve, the market for it. Make more people want to watch women's sport. Do you watch women's cricket?
Not really. Yeah. You can't really make people watch something.
And why don't you watch the women's?
Yeah, why don't you watch them play? They play.
I don't watch it purely because it's not on TV.
Yes,
Artie's got a suggestion.
What do you?
As a sportswoman, I completely agree that we can definitely garner more support for women's sport. Absolutely, yeah.
I feel the quality of cricket is better.
Women's cricket.
For men.
For men.
For men, yeah. Well, why do you say that? Why do you think it's better?
Because that's how.
He doesn't know.
What if you lowered the rate that professional sportsmen are paid back to what women are, and so that they have to work as well? Do you think the quality of cricket would change, or would it stay the same?
I don't think it would change. Just pure, but I think the number of games will change. You can't play because cricket is a career option. Like today I was watching New Zealand and South Africa play on TV. There was a bunch of primary school kids, they showed on TV, and the commentator said, they're getting kids out because they need to view this as a work experience. You think some cricket is work experience. But that's what people think. But to get to that stage, it's important that we support and help improve the grassroots level and encourage more women. I think Marley cricket does a really good job. But from then on, there's nothing that helps cricketers, both men and women actually, to make that next step. So,
I think SPL has done a very good job of encouraging women cricketers. I certainly feel very comfortable coming here, interacting with the guys and the girls, and it's a very friendly environment and where the guys and girls mix and teach each other. So I think that's a really positive environment to do that in.
and I think what Duke was saying before about making 15 over side, which is kind of very.
Is that all you
No, but the reason that shouldn't be done is because we're trying to improve the girls' game. We're trying to make it, to a level where it goes on smoothly. So you can't, it's not representing the playing most tonight.
I'd like to see some of the guys, jumping in like these two do to help with the women's training. And Sasha also was not here tonight. But it's great that they come along and support us, and I'd like to see more of that to help the women's cricket get to that level.
Last comment from the crowd. Every segment has a comment.
No, I'm not.
Did have?
Sorry?
Yeah, you had a point to make.
Yeah, I did. In terms of marketability, the recent ABS statistics show that there are actually more women in Australia than there are men. So wouldn't it be better in terms of marketability to market to the greater population? If there's more women playing because they're getting paid more, then you have more of the population to sell stuff to. So wouldn't it be economically more feasible for the entire country to actually push women into playing more sport by paying them more?
I think it might depend on the demand. You can't forget in a market, in any market you can't forget that there's demand, there's supply, then there's marketing to increase demand for that product. If you don't have a certain base level of demand, it would be very difficult to increase that demand. But it's definitely a good idea. Like you say, if there are more women than men, there's certainly a lot of potential, as you've suggested, to market it to the women.
All right. Final thing we need to do is to work out who the winner is, or who's correct, and the definitive answer without any question. So, crowd, if you think, we're going to do this. We need to cheer for if you think women should be paid the same as men in sports. So, who thinks that? Yeah. One person. Woo! Go at that. So, who thinks that they shouldn't be paid and that men should be paid more?
Hoorah!
That's good. Very indicative of the two people crowd that we have in the audience. Sorry?
Are we basing? Are we questioning?
Are they voting?
It's not that hard.
No, use it mine. I don't think
Are we basing our vote on who made a better argument or what we believe?
What do you think?
Hang on, no. Their opinion or who made a better argument?
We're after their opinion.
So opinion, not an
Based on the
argument.
debate, Brenda.
No, based on the
No, you guys are both
It should be
winners.
based on the.
You guys are both winners. The
I think
Alright, is Miriam better or Teresa better? Who votes Miriam?
Bowl off.
No, not hands up. Cheers. We want everyone to know there's a crowd.
Yeah.
That's Miriam.
Can we start studying?
Alright, apologies for everyone watching at home on YouTube where you've wasted the last 5 minutes. Really apologetic. Very difficult concept.
Okay, I've got to fix this. Okay? I want everyone to put your hand up. Everyone put your hand up. Everyone put your hand up. Right now, everyone put your hand up. Ladies, men, put your hand up. Put your hand up. Put your hand up. Okay. If you think that women should be paid as much as men in sport, keep your hand up.
And cheer.
What's that? Hang on. Hey, keep it up. Let's count them.
Women should be.
1, 2, should be paid as much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 9? Okay. Everyone put your hand up again. Okay. If you think that women should not be paid as much in sport, keep your hand up.
Should not be, yeah.
Whoa, there's more.
There's double hands over there.
I think you got the win on that one.
Teresa's got the win. Alright, in the interest of time, round of applause to both Marys. Alright, we've got to move on. Sorry, we are a little bit behind on time. So next up we're going to just say some prayers. Ali, you're going to just say a few prayers for us while we reflect.
Yep, so feel free to make yourself comfortable. What I might do in the middle of the prayers, I might just pause for a little bit, just to give you a time to send out one if you'd like to do so, and maybe reflect on things yourself. So yeah, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thanks so much for SPL. Thank you for this space. Thank you for the people in it. Thank you that it is a really safe space that we can come and hang out, enjoy sport, enjoy this gift. And thank you that it's a place where we can show our love for each other as mates. And we just ask that you help us to support those who are maybe having a tough time at the moment. We really pray that you can be with them, that you can give them comfort, and help us to be able to comfort them also. Help us to know exactly where we need to be, what we need to say, and how we can best be the best friends that we can possibly be for them this time. We also pray for people who are looking for jobs at the moment. There's quite a few people that are either not enjoying where they're at in their jobs, or are seeking a job. And we really ask that you give them wisdom, also patience as well. This can take time. And we ask that you have a hand in making sure that that process speeds up, that either they can start enjoying where they're at, or that you give them opportunities to move on, and also that you provide for them a job so they can support themselves and others, and also feel their sense of purpose. And Father, we just ask that you bless this place, that you bless everyone in it, and we thank you for all the wonderful things that have been, all the wonderful moments that we've had in here, in terms of all the laughs that we had at the cricket show, all the wonderful moments at training, where we managed to win and bowl to other people standing on the stumps. Father, we just thank you so much for the wonderful relationships that we've formed here. We really ask that you strengthen those, and that it can continue to be a place where people feel loved and cared for and wanted. And we ask that, that stays strong, and that more people can discover what it is that makes this place we pray for, we just ask that all these prayers that have been spoken and also unspoken as well, that you'll answer them in your own way. We recognise that sometimes you don't answer them in the way that we expect, but you do answer them. And it's always because perhaps it was a better plan than what we thought of in the first place. So we ask that, we can trust you with that. And we can we pray all of these things in your son's name. Amen.
Thank you, Ali, and thank you, God. All right, we'll push along. Thank you to Miriam and Teresa. Feel free to always and then take a seat. All right, we'll go and move on to the more grade reviews. Arctic and Teeks are going to come up. A round of applause for them for 8 grades.
Really shaking hands, hey? Work.
Arctic Teeks, 8 grades, what's the haps?
Well, we had I think Adi called that Monday last night. The top 6 teams probably in A grade. So 3 grades first off was Save Your Legs versus Wolfpack, followed by the Pacers versus Deported, and finally JWB versus IO. So Adi, how'd the first game go?
Took a while, took a long time. I think we finished at 8:30 or something. So, I think Save Your Legs have won a few games coming up from B grade, and they showed a bit of confidence, and then the Wolfpack is a really good bowling team with Nigel and Bongs and another guy, not Dean, is it? I think Dean. Got a bit of pace that side.
Of 70%, I think. So you play
Yeah, so what did they make? 160, I think, Wolfpack, and then Save Your Legs all out for 100, so it was a
bit disappointing, really. I think we expected Sandeep and Hari to carry the team, but Sandeep went out pretty early for a duck, and Hari tried to hang in there. I think he retired, came back, but they just couldn't get the job done in the end.
Yeah, I think Save Your Legs are having a few problems with being too defensive and not attacking as much and having everyone back, and we're losing a few games like that. So they're trying to get a few people to fill in for them, dropping their own plays on her.
Yeah, I think they've got a problem with coaching as well. I think they need a new coach amongst them. They're having a bit of trouble with leadership and maybe too many captains as well on the team, too many leaders. So
and Wolfpack have done alright last few games. Well, you don't know, obviously, because you don't really care, but Wolfpack have been doing alright. Mainly bowling team, like only made 160 yesterday, so pretty interesting. And then we had the Pacers versus Deported, who everyone thought would be top 2 this year. And we made 80, a bit of noise in the crowd, there was sledging going on, and a few of the blokes weren't too happy, and then, it's... it's getting a bit feisty with Shahan and Ashish are getting fired up for 2 quarters blokes in A grade after the first day when Ashish goes, can't wait to have a bowl. And so it got a bit feisty, and then we ended up bowling that for 40.
Yeah, no, it got pretty heated up. I think first innings we expected them to come hard at us, and I think after they dismissed us for 80, I think their confidence level was way too high, and sledging was just off the charts. But I think once the Pacers knew that that they were up against it, we got our act together. And sledging obviously went up another level for the Pacers, which I don't know if that was possible. But I think if you were here last night, you would have heard some of the worst sledging ever, some profanities from both sides. But I think at the end of the day, that's the game. We shook hands, and that's the spirit of the game we play. And we both want to win. We both play hard. So I think it was a good game for Monday night.
I think Deported will be still up there. They've already played a few games and they've lost 2-2. I think they are. So I think they'll still be up there with it. And cool. I think their batting's pretty weak though, depending on Kern or what. But they'll be right. Last game was just one about won the first 3, they lost 2. They were my smoking, I had to finish 3rd and everyone would go at me, but they're still sitting 2nd or 3rd now, and Bargain's doing really well, taking a few wickets, probably leading MVP, and DJ Kicks just spinning a few things on the cricket pitch, I guess. Getting a few sledges.
It was pretty heated last night between Kicks and Stephen from the IO team. A few sledges off the field, and Kicks didn't stop actually for once. I thought he'd be pretty diplomatic and quite calm on the field normally, but he got pretty
Complete
good.
opposite, and Kicks got a bit fired up and ended up winning just one of that. And you're now 1-4 or 1-5 or something.
Yeah, I think
they're out of it.
They were the surprise for us when we were looking at the ladder. I think they were the surprise for us because I personally had a predictions expecting them to do quite well, but I think they're sitting 6th out of 8 teams and going to struggle to make the finals. And Adi, what does the ladder look like?
I'm not too sure. So we have, after yesterday, the Pacers are on 36 points. Just want to battle Wolfpack 2nd and 3rd. The Tri-Tonals are a bit of a surprise factor with Anuj going back into his team. Pretty quiet in A-grade, but a good bloke. Rumours are that he wants to come to the Pacers next year if they go to cup grade. Just a little rumour that I got a message today from him saying...
It's not a rumour, it's just true.
It's not a rumour, it's a fact. So, sorry for me. But yeah, he's looking to get back into cup grade. I think he wants to do it, so we'll see how we go with that.
So Adi, what's your top pick for the trophy for A-grade this year?
Probably the Pacers. Yeah, I think the Pacers got the most depth in the team, not being biased or anything, but important of also very attacking teams. So I think it's a bowling competition, the A-grade, with a lot of teams getting bowled out for under 100 and things like that. But the Pacers got a good bowling lineup. Great teams made over 50 in the last 3 games. So I think we're backing Sachin to bowl well and just become a bit of pace, a bit of anger, which he didn't have. He's starting to talk. And new recruit Shan, who's better than his brother for sure. And Ashish was just an absolute gun, probably the best batter in A-grade and probably the top few bats in cup grade as well. And the other teams, Mongooses have only won 2 games, or maybe even a game, but TK's back and look at the fixture, he's going to be playing most games. So I reckon they're going to be fighting for that 6th spot. I reckon with Ayo and Salah's pretty much out of it, with only winning 1 game each, so I think they're gone. So, yeah.
I probably agree with that. I think Salah's going to struggle for the rest of the season.
Missing players though, so
they're big players, and I think they're up against some tough teams as well. So, I think they're probably the team to go down a grade the way they're playing. I think of all the teams, I think JWP is probably the biggest surprise.
Not a surprise to me, mate.
I think after a few seasons, a few of them. A few of the players, I think they've got more experience. I think they train every week as well. So
they work well together as a team. They're very attacking. That's what I think it's all about. Being attacking in I think Sabre Leagues do have a good team. If they can just be more aggressive in the field, back each other, not have a team huddle after every over, they'll be doing alright on time. So.
Interesting that you're calling out that Salas could drop into B grade because they
I think they finished second or runners up last year, but
they were a cup grade team 2 seasons ago.
Exactly, bro. Talking to a few of them players, Tushar's a bit injured, he's an absolute gun, and I think Henry used to play for him, I think. And so, they're just missing a lot of players. Even tomorrow they've asked us to fill in for numbers stuff that we can't, so they're just really struggling with numbers.
Yeah, good stuff.
Any questions?
Yeah. We love the A grade. Thank you.
No questions?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Sure.
Question.
Rob, you have a question? That's okay, go.
No, who do you think will win?
Good question.
Pacers, mate. Oh, the Pacers. Alright.
I think Pacers is the deported final, because the bowling lineup is just an unbelievably good, and I think with the new ball in the finals, because normally they bowl with the older ball, obviously in A grade, and Nakul's I think one of the top bowlers in A grade, and also they have Nathan, definitely maybe the best in A grade. So I think with the new ball, their bowling lineup is going to be very dangerous. They could probably
Margaret, I reckon, as well. Just cutting you off because I'm just talking crap, mate. Just MVP for Margaret, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think he's on 9 votes. I think he's polled in a few games and 3 man of the matches. So he's probably favourite right now. And from just one match. I think.
Sachin and Chan have been doing alright from Pacers and Nidin from Deported, I think. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one. I think there's a few players up there, so it's going to it's too hard to call at the moment. So we'll see how it goes.
Any truth in the rumour that Sachin wants to get rid of you, Artie? That's why he lined you up in the field the other day.
That's true. I am leaving in 2 weeks, so it'll be good to see Sachin leading the team and see how we go in the finals with a bit of leadership. But I think Ashish has stepped up, made him vice captain during the week, and he's starting to step up. So I think he's got a lot of experience. Ashish playing for Hong Kong, captaining Hong Kong, international level. So as soon as we gave him a bit of leadership, he's, you know, started to really step up. He's a bit quiet in the team. Same with Shane, a bit quiet when he joined the team, and now we've started to really welcome him to the team. He's been better than we expected. So I think Ashish and Sachin will do a good job with that. So hopefully the picks as well.
I got a question for Tees.
Yep. If it's
I've
only
heard
a
a
5-second question.
Sorry?
If it's a 5-second question, you're allowed to ask it.
Yeah,
That's okay.
Go on. No, it's not a 5-part one. I've heard a rumour that Artie's not going to finish the season. How's the team going to perform with Artie?
I think we'll probably be a little bit quieter, but I think that's going to help the team sort of, I don't know, I think we'll get together more. Because Artie normally just trash talks way too much, gives me a headache sometimes. Talk about SPL way too much, but I think we should be fine. We've got a strong team, but it depends how Sachin steps up as captain, along with Ashish's advice. So it'll be a good test for Sachin, but I think we should be fine.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Well done. Andy's coming up for B grade review. But also known as the Shizen grade according to the website article. B grade, not getting your app.
What's a Shizen?
Explain it to us. No, I don't think we've got time, Rob.
Okay, firstly, there's openings for 3 new teams at B grade. We got rid of Pacers and Save Your Legs and AU out of B grade.
Not coming back to B grade.
Coming back to B grade, did you say? Yeah. You'll have trouble getting a game next season anyway. 3 teams. High Vale Troopers. Don't know much about them. Bit of a spin-off from Mighty Ducks in the Cup grade. Maybe a couple of guys that want to actually win some games. Playing in B grade. There's the Mad Hatters Society. Is that their name, or is it MHS? Mad Hatters Society. I've got a few options for them actually. Mean Hungry Skunks. Mother Hating Sons. Manic Hairy Sisters. Do you want to hear the others?
Yeah.
But I've never heard what their name's supposed to be, so I thought they could do us some help. After all, I've been involved in starting a few teams in SPL with really imaginative names like Auburn Boys, Auburn Girls, Q Boys, Q Girls. So I reckon they could do with a bit of help, actually. Moving on, Batsman and Robin. I cannot work this team out. I haven't seen one batsman play for them so far. Out for 20 against Centurions of all teams. So if they've got a batsman, he didn't turn up that day anyway. And Robin, I keep asking them, where's Robin? And they say he's not here. So they're in a lot of trouble. Form-wise though, interesting. The form's all over the place in B grade this season. If you have a look at some specific games, Batsman and Robin beat National Australia Bank, NAB. National Australia Bank beat Salford Superstars, and they beat Centurions by 154 runs. And then Centurions went on to beat the Dodgy Brothers by 85 runs, and you'd think you'd be getting to the lowest of the low. And then you see the Dodgies beat the Mad Hatters Society a couple of weeks ago. How can that be? When, if you followed that form, you'd have Batsman and Robin on top, Mad Hatters Society on the bottom. Guess what the later says? Mad Hatters are on top, Batsman and Robin are on the bottom. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Then, here's another one. 12th Men have been on top of the ladder lately, but then they get beaten by Just Cricket Crazy. Did you notice that? Just this week. What's the problem? JCC stands for Just Cricket Crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Keep going.
Yeah. So on the ladder we've got Mad Hatters on top, 12th Men second, the Eternal Pretenders. They keep making the finals and run the bomb out in the grand final. We'll see what they can do this season.
Anyway.
Made the grand finals.
We made the grand finals.
Right. So you lose in the other finals as well.
Lost in
Not
many
just the
finals.
grand
Thanks,
final.
Rob.
Okay. Well, we'll get to some of this before we went there. Hobart Troopers after round 6, the third on the ladder. I don't know what they're up to. Fourth is Just Cricket Crazy. Fifth, Dodgy Brothers. Now there's a story. The lowest of the low last season have actually won a match or two. Fifth on the ladder.
Yes!
So there's hope for anyone in this cricket competition. Then we've got Centurions, who spent an eternity on the bottom of B grade, are actually in the top 6. Salford, in their usual spot at number 7. National Australia Bank 8. And Batsman and Robin at 9th. Although I did notice they won on Sunday, I think it was. So Batsman might have found one and have moved off the bottom of the ladder at last. I thought I'd give you some wisdom about the awards in B grade. I asked my mate Stan, the statistician, and he told me that there's a guy for Mad Hatters who's been batting really well, a guy called Ayi. He's made more runs than anyone else in B grade, at an average of 78, but listen to this strike rate, 251. He must be a gun. Can't wait to see him. Imagine Batsman and Robin with him batting for him. Bowling award, Niran's right out in front with 11 wickets, right up there, equal to anyone in the whole SPL, with a bowling average of 5, economy of 3.7. Niran, who's leading up Batsman and Robin, they might not have a batsman, but they've certainly got a bowler there. Fielding, who knows who'll get the fielding? It's not based on stats. I couldn't tell you who's going to win that one. But MVP, my favourites would be AE, based on his batting, Niran, based on his bowling. Jerry went close to MVP last season. His team's not doing so well. If they start winning a few games, the umpires might notice Jerry and actually give them some votes. Umpires around here only give winning team votes, it seems. One of my beefs. Especially when I kept playing for losing teams. And then there's, but my smoky is Little Red.
Little Red?
For the B grade
Who's Little Red?
MVP. You might be getting confused with Big Red, Brendan.
Oh,
Little Red is Evan for 12.
Oh, Little Red.
Yeah.
Very cryptic. Ties beautiful so far. Keep going.
And this year, I understand there's a rumour that there's going to be a new award, a sledging award in each grade. And my tip is Suresh, with National Australia Bank. Yeah, Suresh is always in year, screaming, horrific when you even just try to watch a game, let alone play against him. And the other one is one of Pete's proteges at Dodgy Brothers, Shira. Yeah, so that's all I've got.
What makes Sharon such a good candidate in your eyes?
Just he's following Pete Horsford's example, doing everything he tells him to do, and it's a bit of a worry.
It's going to turn out to be a great guy.
He's going to turn out to be a great guy.
You heard it here first. That's one of the more colourful and interesting reviews, but thank you very much, Rob. Always. All right, moving along. Bowdo's Mailbag. Once again, not done by Bowdo, but potential new change of segment to controversial, but potential change of segment to Duke's Deliveries. Yes. I don't know. We want to say that too loud about Bowdo around. He's a bit sensitive about these things. But.
Yeah, understandably, it's a blue chip segment of SPL cricket show. So
it's your show now.
Right.
Anyway.
So I've got 5 letters, but I'm going to read 3. I'm going to read the best 3 that I see. Exactly. And I'll start off with this first one. It's actually addressed to me. So they've obviously known in the last 2 hours that I was going to get here, so that was well done. Dear Dukes, I've been dating my boyfriend for 6 years, and with Christmas coming up, I'm flat out of ideas for presents. What do you think I should get him? He's a similar age to you and has similar interests. Thanks, Yasmin. So I'm obviously thinking about it at the moment.
I don't know that it's same.
Don't know after 6 years.
That's not
Yeah,
fair
no,
to
we
Joe.
don't know because it doesn't have a last name.
Yasmin.
So
Yeah, that is Yas, but she's the one that actually wrote the letter. So Yasmin, I know me and Debs do have very similar interests, similar sort of TV shows and movies.
Yeah. Great minds think alike.
And I know Debs is a very sort of opinionated guy, and I think we should think about something along those lines. Something that encompasses a lot of brain work and a lot of constructive thinking. So in my eyes, PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. That would really promote that sort of thinking, and also promotes friendship, because then all of his friends can come over, they can play with him, they become better friends, and then just sort of like a snowball effect from there. So, look, that's what I promote, some sort of electronic gaming device.
Games with.
What sort of games? Your generic FIFA, Call of Duty.
NBA.
Are we allowed to know this? We have obviously you can buy them at
Think for what a sponsor was, cricket 2000?
Yeah.
Or 2000?
If you get Shane or Cricket 99, if you get Shane or Cricket 99, you'll go straight to the top of the list, straight to the top of the pack. That'll be my recommendation. So there you go, that's my recommendation, some electronic entertainment that not only Debs can enjoy, but all of his friends.
Thanks.
And then you can just watch us play all day.
Great.
And that'll be good for everyone.
So excited.
Alright, moving on. Okay, there's a bit of a theme with these last two, which is becoming more and more sort of prevalent in our society. So this one here, back to Bowdo, so this was before 2 hours ago when I thought that I was reading this out. Dear Bowdo, I've had a bit of a dry patch with the ladies lately and have been considering online dating. What are your thoughts? H. This is difficult for me because when I see H, I see Henry from the Clayton Boys. That's what I
It's not a very fair conclusion though, is it?
It's not. So does anyone know?
Could be a typo, could be Harry, you're a moment ago.
Could be Harry. Oh. Yeah. Well, I mean that's why I don't think it can be H because, or my Henry, or our Henry, SPL9. Big
Andy.
Okay. Well, I can cut them out because Henry's engaged, so he can't be obviously having a dry patch. Andy, how are you going? Having a dry patch? And Harry, well, we'll start with Harry. I think that was more of an SPL Confidential sort of thing, I think, with Harry. So with that online dating, it really just depends on what sort of application you want to use. So you've got your RSVPs, your Tinders, they're the two main ones, aren't they?
Grindr.
eHarmony as well, yeah. So I think it's a different proposition. Tinder is obviously based on the picture. RSVP, I mean, from what I've just watched the ads, they seem pretty successful.
Oh, they do, yeah.
Oh, just the ads, huh?
Exactly, just the ad. So, yeah, I'm not sure about it. I think the way we're all going at the moment is, God forbid, one of us having to go talk to a girl at a bar. The best chance is if I just swipe right, if somebody just swipes right on Tinder and hopefully that girl shows up like that. So, yeah, look, H, don't give up. Oh, yeah, you can come to SPL. There's not a lot of girls. Apparently they're all taking
the influx apparently.
Yeah, so
they're all after you, so.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, H, get down to SPL. SPL is a place to meet girls, actually. So, yeah, that would be my advice. Stay away from online dating. Haven't heard a lot of living stories from that one. You heard some interesting stories though, but we're really asking so, right. Okay, lastly, another sort of dating-related question. Looks like Bowdo is really a love guru, because a lot of letters about it. Dear Mr. Bowdo, I've recently organised an electronic date with a female. I mean, I romanced her electronically, but the date will be human to human. So just a normal, that's how we meet people these days anyway, just through electronics. I've always been an admirer of your style. I've caught sight of you loitering beside the harbour end side of the ground, which is this one, while watching the girls' games online. How is that possible?
That's impossible.
How could you watch girls' games online? Anyway, this person will get to the technicalities. different angles. I didn't know there was different angles on the stream. Off topic, take it off. The way you dress is easygoing yet classy, and at the same time, a look I aspire to. Could you please help me prepare for my human date by helping me select my attire? So there's 3 questions they've asked. It's a 3-part question. Firstly, should I wear jockey briefs, hipster briefs, or none at all? So what do you think of that one?
What are jocks?
Jockey briefs, are they just the traditional ones?
Just jockeys, like the boxers. No,
The
no,
boxers.
that's briefs.
Briefs, yeah, they're traditional.
Yandi.
Hipster briefs are like the short sides.
Yeah, they're like the rectangle.
Superman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rectangle.
Or none at all.
Not at all.
I think you should wear something.
None.
Triangle depends. Triangle. Oh, well, it's your question.
Yeah, what's your preference?
Oh, I'm definitely hipster briefs, guys.
Rectangle.
Yeah, rectangle. I think rectangle underwear. You've got to be comfortable. I think on the first date, you don't want to be nervous and uncomfortable.
But not too comfortable.
But you have different ones for cricket, don't you?
Yeah, I do wear different underwear for cricket, but I'm not on a date for cricket, so I wear different underwear.
Why not?
So nothing in cricket, right?
I wear tiny
You got to wear. You have to wear something. Otherwise, your box just goes.
through the floor. So I would recommend hipster briefs for your first date. Secondly, he wants to know, I'm going to wear my football jumper. Would you suggest long or short sleeve? And if short, should I shave my armpits? The hair is very long. So I definitely recommend the shorts. If you've got good arms, so this is from Clyde.
Clive Rose?
Clive Rose, could be Clive Rose, famous Australian cricketer, or potentially going to be a famous Australian cricketer. I would suggest if you've got good arms, wear short sleeves. Actually, wear short sleeves regardless, because long sleeves just looks a little bit odd. And plus if it rains.
You've got long sleeves.
Long sleeve, no, but I actually know a friend that plays football and he wears a short sleeve jumper, it looks really good. So and definitely shave your armpits as well, because that doesn't look so great. So wear the football jumper, short sleeve, shave your armpits. And thirdly, I have a new shiny pair of sandals, they are brown. Would you recommend black or white socks? By the way, I'm wearing a short brown pant. Ooh. What do we think of this?
One pant, so like one side of a pant.
No, I think it's a whole pair. I think Clive's afforded a whole pair. So do we think socks with sandals is number one?
Yeah,
There's
We go white.
No.
White and pumpkin wear.
How do you do that? It defeats the purpose of the.
Could have gone from
No,
there.
it depends on
It's true. That person does have a girlfriend that is in the crowd who was wearing socks with sandals. So
Then let's put them up next to
But
each
he's
other.
already taken. He probably did not wear the socks to woo the girl.
No, not on the day.
well, sound like you're saying don't wear the socks.
If it's cold.
But he's saying he wants to wear
What
them.
time
But it should be comfortable.
It's in between the kind of cold and
But what if
warm,
you
like
only have
at the moment, one day.
Well, then buy sandals on the wedding and wear.
Yeah.
It's practical.
Changeable weather. Yeah, the socks.
White
I
socks.
wouldn't do it personally, but I mean, I'm not in great form at the moment, so maybe you would therefore go for the socks option. And I'm not sure who he's going on a date with. So I mean, if you're going out
If he has hairy toes, you should probably cover them. So go socks.
Hairy toe.
there you go. That's a good tip for all men worldwide. If you've got hairy toes, cover them.
You never do socks with sandals. It's just a rule.
Yeah, but look,
It's been off the crowd, right? It's been off the feelings too. It's warm.
Not
Yeah.
it's practical.
It's a choice.
Well, I mean, if is it practical, but is it going to get you a second date? That's the.
I reckon.
that's-
I reckon if you're looking for a husband, you want someone who's really practical. Who's not going to go with episodes of some other TV show you're not interested in. Like, you want practicality. That's my, yeah.
There you go.
No, he's on a date with you.
Did Al wear socks with his sandals?
No, I don't think so. I probably did. So.
Interesting.
No, that was fantastic.
Yeah, changing time. I wouldn't think that.
Just can't keep up.
There you go. Times change. So whoever you like, I mean, if you're going out with a carry girl, I wouldn't say wear any of this. I'd say real dress sharp, bring your university degree. You know, you have to wear a dress sharp. But any sort of normal girl. Out to SPL.
Just took a spike there and we just picked the right time.
Just getting
Very interesting. We're going to leave it. segment is good call, bad call. We're going to invite Andy and we're going to Bebbers to the panel.
What's this? Are you guessing it's not?
Good call, bad call. Right, we're going to do it slightly differently today. I'm going to read the good call, bad calls out, and I'm going to nominate one of you, and you'll have to respond in sequence. So we'll start with you, Andy. So, first one. Glennie Knights will finish in the Cup Grade finals. Good call, bad call.
Good call. Yep.
Okay, very good.
You have to explain it.
Alright, Ali, this is
Yep.
yours. The fine legs are the most politically delicate side in girls' grade.
Good call.
Good call. We haven't seen stats for a couple of games, so I reckon something's going on there. Good call.
Well played.
Alright, Jukes. IU is the best looking side in A grade. Good call, bad call. I skipped, it's alright.
They've got Noel Joseph in their side, and he's a big bloke. Does have a bit of a big neck though. So I'm going to say bad call.
Alright, that is fine legs are the best SPL uniform, women's or men. Good call, bad call.
Yeah, it's pretty good call. Purple's good colour. I have one. Wonderful, the best.
Like it? Very good. Alright, back to you, Andy. Let's see. Samantha from the Fighting Legs will be Rookie of the Year in girls' grade. Good call, bad call. She's gone now, so it's not much watching.
Good call. Good call. No, she's a big, tall, fast bowler. She's going to do some serious damage. Apparently Ashley's been doing a few tips with shorter run-up, so no, really, good call.
Have you now?
Alright, Ali. Cuties should be sanctioned for what was found in their unofficial grandstand. Good call, bad call. That's a
Call.
I'm not sure about this one. No,
Good call, bad call.
No, I reckon bad call. Because there's some really good cricketers going on, so I reckon good cricket should drop it.
very good call. Jukes. Monash Pacers will be the new Black Hawks of SPL. Good call, bad call.
Yeah, good call. Everybody on that. Yeah, good call.
No more needed. Bebbers. Dodgy Brothers will win a premiership way before Monash Mariners do. Good call, bad call.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
That's a good call. That's the best call I've seen in the shit right now. Maidens. I don't know about maidens. There's a few questionable bowling actions going on in their team. There's a few. The Dodgies seem to be getting all the pick of the rookies, and some of the rookies, as we saw tonight, are very good. Some rookies might not be, but they're getting the pick, and I think they'll work that to their advantage.
Very good. Thank you, Bebbers. Andy, the countdown clock is needed for girls' grade, but not for guys. A bit topical for tonight. Good call, bad call.
Good call. Good call. The girls, like Derek said earlier before, the girls really do amble. They take their time. I mean, what's the deal with you get one person out? Why are you high-fiving the batsman? This is high-five your teammates. You high-five the batsman when you start. That's not nice. You're in the vibe, then let's face the time. No, definitely good. Yeah, good call.
Alright, Ali, Ting Ting has the brightest smile at SPL. Good call, bad call.
Good call. I think the entire team is laughing about the girls' grade.
I like that.
Good
Good
call.
play on words. This one's good for you, Jukes. The Clayton boys can claim naming rights to their unofficial grandstand through adverse possession. Great. Good call, bad call.
Yeah, I'll take a call. I've never actually seen any other teams hang out at that couch other than us, so I'm not sure I know Adam does go to the toilet before the game and then hang around that couch, so I'm not sure if that's the reason why we always get possession. So yeah, good call.
And last question, Bebbers. Also topical. Any player with more than a 15-degree bend in the elbow should be called for chucking an SPL. Good call, bad call.
Instantly, good call. It's not about being harsh, it's about training people to be correct. It's not about an unfair advantage. Like I said, if you can pick it up early, especially with a lot of the rookies, a lot of girls who are learning to play cricket, If you can tell them and nip in the bud, then you're not going to have a problem later on. If you let it go for a couple of seasons, you never know. They can say that I've been bowling like that for the last 2 seasons. Why do I have to change it now? Why didn't anyone tell me earlier? I say as soon as a suspect action is picked up, it should be eliminated.
Big call. That's good call back, all right. Round of applause for just jokes. All right, next up, last segment, celebrity heads. A bit of fun and games. Rosie, come on up. Finally get your segment underway.
Andy, stay where you are.
Andy, stay where you are.
Ashing, yes. Stay where you are. Take a seat up front.
Take a seat.
All right.
Andy.
Take a seat on the wood. On the stage. On the stage.
All right.
Now.
Rosie, the microphone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Players, are you all familiar with the rules of celebrity head?
See.
C. Net. Okay, beautiful. Here we go. One second. Let me just put the little thing down. So, for those who are not familiar, you will ask the questions, and if you audience participation, please.
Can I look at you as a celebrity?
Yes, you can. Audience participation. Yes answers, you are allowed to ask another question. No answers, you move on to the next person. Alright. You may want to turn around for the kids behind you to reveal who's who. Alright. Player number 1. Yes. Ask a question.
Am I male?
Yes.
Can I keep asking?
Keep going. Until you get a no.
Stuck already?
3 seconds.
Am I on TV? Yeah, TV.
Currently, you're on TV currently. Yes. You're on ads currently. There's a clue. Yeah.
In ads?
Yeah, you are.
Am I George Clooney?
No, you are not. She's got a yes. No, you go. Your turn.
Alright, am I a male?
No.
Fine.
Am I a female?
No, you are.
Questionable. Good joke.
Am I...
Oh, hang on.
Oh, hang on.
Close your eyes.
Wardrobe malfunction.
Always someone who's too serious.
Hang on. Close my eyes.
Yes, your turn.
Am I advertising a TV show?
No.
No, you're not.
Am I a fictional character?
No.
Am I a sports person?
No.
No.
Ash is gone.
Do I have brown hair?
You have a shade of brown,
Yeah, shade of
but it's helped by packet.
C.
We'll give
Packet
that.
I
dye.
don't think
You're at the age where you probably use a bit of packet dye.
That's too many clues.
Packet dye. Yeah, I know.
Clues, Rosie.
As you do I know this person?
Can I guess?
You can give a guess, yeah.
Oh no, he doesn't have brown hair.
I would say more like a light brown. Not my brown, not your brown, sort of a lighter brown.
I don't think the hair's really.
That important. It's not a feature. It's not a feature. No, it isn't a feature.
Am I advertising something to do with hair?
You're out. Alright.
You just have like 4 questions.
Yeah, I know you
Send
are.
them out.
Shush, man. Alright. Am I a musician?
Yes.
C. Am I African American?
Yes. You're getting
Is
close here.
this musician's body ever been too bootylicious?
Mate,
What have I done? I've just figured out who I am.
Drum roll. I think you can.
No.
Another question.
It's Beyonce. I know you are.
Get a second place word. Get a second delegate. Yeah. Pressure's on, guys.
Am I an actor?
Yes, you are an actor.
He obviously watches a lot of Beyonce.
In a recent movie?
Not in a movie, but I'll give you a clue. You are
been in
very popular in reruns. Very, very
Oh,
popular.
massive.
That's it. That's
We
good.
love you in reruns.
Reruns. It's a massive clue.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh.
I think there's a little thing.
Am I an actor?
Yeah.
Yes. But you will, here's a clue for you as well. So we're running out of time. Do we we need to give clues?
Yeah, I need another one.
Okay, you were known for acting straight away. In the beginning of your career, you were known for something else. And then you moved into the acting career probably in the 80s. In the 70s, you were huge for something in particular. Huge. There's the clue as well. Huge.
Think of your head, mate. Celebrity head.
You are known in the comedy circle. Your reruns are huge as well.
needs another clue now.
Yeah, Yaz needs a clue. Come on.
Think huge muscles. Think
Sit
probably
down.
There's a systematic.
Questions. Yes.
Am I alive?
Yes.
All the dead people.
This is a really obvious clue.
Clearly.
In the 90s. Oh, okay.
It's like a rerun.
Alright.
Rerun.
Is it someone of
massive in the
Friends?
90s.
No.
No. Yes, it's turn.
Am I the Rock?
No.
But I like
In the early days, kind of better than The Rock in the early days. No clues.
Am I Black American?
No.
Rerun. Say that, mate.
What? What's wrong with that?
Reruns are not friends.
Black American.
You're so racist.
Yes, it's turn.
Not as bad as Duke's big nose joke.
Come on.
That was hilarious.
You're advertising something in Australian product.
If you're listening at right now.
What?
Yeah.
So we're going to do. You guys ask them a question.
Audience, give a clue. Audience, give a clue.
Okay, am I attractive?
Yes.
Oh my. Yes, definitely.
You might have been about
Your
20
mate
years
thought you were attractive about 10 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Depends on. It's
That's a
subjective.
clue.
It's not a
You won.
given.
Not a given.
Nah, maybe
Oh,
there's
I can't. What, that'd be giving it away. Yeah, probably. Oh, she's not gonna get it. You won Mr. Olympia like 6
Yeah,
times.
Mr. Olympia. I
California.
didn't want to say
You know what that is?
What, Jerry Seinfeld?
California.
Yes.
Did someone give me the answer?
If a brat were
Nah,
Hulk
you said
Hogan.
you're famous for comedy.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get it.
Jasmine, come on! Get in the chopper, come on! Why you not got this yet?
Thank you very much for turning up. Thanks to everyone who was involved. And that's it for the second cricket show for the season. So we'll see you very soon. Thanks, guys.
Nope.